What the heck is going on here? Have you seen it? U.S. to temporarily shut down embassies around the world Sunday amid security concerns. What? I was going to say, have they shut down YouTube or something? Did that guy get out of jail? It made the YouTube video. Did he make another one?
Live from the Southern Command in sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday!
Somebody must have made another video that has enraged the Arab street because we're shutting down our embassies. CNN, a random act of journalism. Jake Tapper, breaking big news. The CIA involved in an unprecedented attempt to keep Benghazi secrets secret. To keep facts. They're giving there were 12 or 15 CIA people on the ground in Benghazi. It turns out it may have been about gun running to Syria. It turns out that may have been what was going on. Anyway, it's Friday, folks, Open Line Friday. And here we are, day 2 of our 26th year of the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. Great to have you. Telephone number if you want to be on the program today, 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushmo@eibnet.com. And rules on Friday, pretty much open-ended. Monday through Thursday, this is a benevolent dictatorship. Monday through Thursday, this is as close to liberalism as the program will ever get, and that being, you have to talk about something I care about. You can say whatever you want about it, but I have to care about it. But on Friday, I don't have to care about it. Whatever you wish to discuss is fine. No, President Obama did not call me or email me or reach out to congratulate me for being on the air for 25 years. I'm sure he meant to, but he's busy. A lot of things going on. I understand I'm not a priority, and I'm not taking that seriously at all. It's tough to get through the 800 number, and I'm not so certain if the White House called it, Snerdley would hang up on him anyway. We have some, just a little housekeeping here. We have some sound bites from yesterday that were put together for the little anniversary show that I didn't get to. Cookie, she went out there, she put together a sound bite in which I identify all of my top 10 favorite female names. And she thinks it's hilarious. And so she submitted it to me again today because I didn't get to it yesterday. What? Yeah, she told me she's not giving up on it. She submitted it yesterday. I didn't have a chance to get to it. She submitted it. It's on the soundbite roster again today. Since I mentioned yesterday at the close of one of the soundbites featuring the interview with my grandfather on his 100th birthday back in 1991, I mentioned that he spoke at length about when he thought the United States actually became a superpower, great nation. And it was with the advent of the Navy as a full-fledged military force. So we've got that answer if I have a chance to get to it. I mean, there's a lot here to do. So we got the second hour of the Greta Van Susteren interview tonight on Fox. And I got a note from Greta this morning saying that 85% of what's going to air tonight has not been aired. There's some of what she aired on, Tuesday night will be repeated, but not very much. Most of what is airing tonight has not been seen. So she got 2 full hours out of this sit-down that we did on Tuesday, and that's tonight at 10 o'clock. Of course, there's economic news out the wazoo today. Folks, it's all over the ballpark, and none of it is good. Most of it is being portrayed as good and positive in the media, which, of course, in a lot of people's minds is going to mean it's good. but it isn't. From the AP, Christopher Rugaber, U.S. employers added 162,000 jobs in July, a modest increase, and the fewest since March. The gain was still enough, though, to help lower the unemployment rate to a 4.5-year low of 7.4%, a sign that's hopeful in an otherwise lackluster report. Not true. It's not hopeful. There's nothing good about it. And speaking of CNN, let me find it here because they've done a random act of journalism again. Grab soundbite number 8. I mean, I could tell you this, but I want you to hear this on CNN. And not enough people are watching CNN for this to have impact. So we're going to give them a little amplification here. This was on their program this morning that's anchored by Carol Costello. She spoke with their business correspondent, Allison Kosick, about the July jobs numbers. And Costello said investors are getting their first chance to digest the latest jobs report, Allison Kosick at New York Stock Exchange. What do we see?
The problem is that lower unemployment rate that came in, it may be for the wrong reasons because the number of people counted in the labor participation rate fell. So people literally left the labor force. They gave up looking for work. That's really not the reason you want to see the unemployment rate tick lower. You want to see people getting jobs, and that's the reason you want to see the unemployment rate go lower.
You got to give them credit. I mean, she's trying. She pretty much, she got it right. You have to give them kudos. What do you say, HR? Giving up is never good. Here's the thing. Again, the labor force participation rate, that number is what I'm talking about when I tell you that 9 million jobs have vanished since Obama took office. The universe of available jobs in the country is down by over 9 million. They just don't exist. It's like enough factories closed that there are 9 million jobs no longer attainable. It's not the jobs are waiting to be filled. They're not there anymore. There's nothing good about jobs in this country. There's not anything, not one bit of news of any substance whatsoever that's good. 9 million plus. We lost some more. That's what she was talking about. Labor force participation rate. So the unemployment rate goes down because the number of people out of work divided by the number of jobs available, of course the percentage is going to come down. If there were 9 million jobs still out there waiting to be had, the unemployment rate, it would be almost 12%, folks, if the labor force, if as many people, if there were as many jobs today as there were when Obama took office, and the number of people that were working were factored against that number, the unemployment rate would be almost 12%. That's how bad it is. And Allison Kosick got it right. The unemployment rate went down because it's a mathematical phenomenon here. It has nothing to do with jobs being created. And it's one of the fallacies in the way this number is reported. You would think that if the unemployment rate went from 7.6 to 7.4, that we're adding jobs. And your average low information doofus out there is going to think just that. But it's the exact opposite. The labor force participation rate makes up two things: jobs that have vanished and people no longer looking, because there aren't any that they want. In addition, the number of jobs that were added, 162,000, modest increase, the fewest number of jobs per month since March. But Rugaber, here in the AP, is entirely disingenuous and maybe dishonest, I don't know, when he then writes, the gain was still enough to help lower the unemployment. The gain, that 162,000 jobs, had nothing to do with the unemployment rate going down. That 162,000 doesn't compensate anywhere at all for the jobs being lost and closed down. Ladies and gentlemen, we used to be told that it took 200,000 jobs a month to lower the unemployment rate. Or that just 2 months ago, we were told 175,000 jobs created in May were too few to lower the unemployment rate. Well, to get on a job creation rate that would start making a dent in the actual jobs lost beginning in 2009 would require 500,000 jobs a month. And in fact, if you go back to the 80s and the Reagan recovery, that's what you'll find. You'll find that in any real economic recovery. There is no economic recovery when 162,000 jobs are added. So CNN, God bless them, swerved into the truth. AP is continuing to present BS. Trying to make it look like, well, it's not a whole lot of growth, but it's growth happening out there. A hopeful sign in an otherwise lackluster report. But what of the kind of jobs being created? We've talked about this, not come as a surprise to you. Here are the ballpark numbers. So far this year, 900,000 jobs have been quote unquote created. So how many people have found work? How many of them, Rachel? Take a wild guess. You don't pay much attention to news until you're here. So these are a good case history here. I mean, you do, but you're... No. She's got a family and she's out running around. 900,000 jobs so far this year. How many of them are full-time, do you think? 200,000. Over 700,000 of the jobs created this year are part-time, which means what? They don't qualify for benefits. They don't qualify for Obamacare. Some of these jobs, part-time, are because employers are downsizing, and they are converting full-timers to part-timers. But most of the new jobs this year are part-time. Our old buddy Jim Pethokoukis, the American Enterprise Institute. The quality of jobs created was a big complaint by the Democrats when Bush was in office. Retail and restaurants, two of the lowest paying sectors, accounted for more than half of all job growth in this 162,000 jobs created last month. Retail and restaurants, two low-paying sectors, more than half of the jobs. Part-time economy. What we really have is people leaving the job market. Actual number is that the labor force participation rate, well, that's it. No, I wasn't right. If the labor force participation rate were what it was in July of 2012 last year, the unemployment rate would be 7.8%. If the labor force participation rate were what it was in January 2009 when Obama took office, it would be 11%. Not 7.4. Some people have now become comfortable not working. It's a result of government-encouraged dependency. 4.2 million people have been out of a job for over 6 months. 4.2 million people. Every one of them, though. By the way, people are getting mad at me when I say this. When I say, but they're all eating. I get email. What, do you expect them to starve? Yeah, that'd be kind of good, because maybe they'd be forced to go out and find work. No, I don't expect them to starve. Open your minds. I'm trying to make a point. There's no incentive to go out and find a job. There's no disincentive to being unemployed. If you have very little ambition, being unemployed in this country meant you didn't eat. That's why you had to go out and find a job. A number of other things. I think it's being unemployed today, you still have your cell phone and your TV. It's a factor. It matters. That's not cruel. I'm giving you a fact of life observation. Yeah, but it sounds like you disagree with it. It sounds like you think people ought to be starving. Sounds like you want to go back to the days when you were a kid, when being out of work meant really pain and suffering. Well, no, I mean, change is change and it happens. But I understand human nature. And if you don't have to work for anything, you won't. Not good for America is the point, and it's not good for anybody. So, 953,000 jobs created in 2013. 77% are part-time. 731,000. Another way of looking at it, for every full-time job created, there are 4 part-time jobs created. I don't care how you slice it. The jobs news isn't good. And let me add one other statistic to this. The Senate amnesty bill, the Gang of 8 Pathway to Citizenship immigration bill, according to the vaunted Congressional Budget Office, says that there will be 46 million immigrants in America by 2033. That's just 20 years. In 20 more years, 46 million new people thrown in to this economy and job market. Stew on that while we take an obscene profit timeout.